yeah, she's large and scary, but the waist is snatched. The curl spikes are there. She's beauty. She is grace. She's floating into space. Ooh! You know, I like a rhyme. So, yeah, that would be me as a dragon. I love it. Hi, hello, and welcome to the Cozy Little Book Club. I'm your host, Taylor. Thanks so much for joining. Y'all, so I am really excited to talk to y'all about this book. It has really been a long time that I can say that I've been this excited to talk to y'all about a book. Like, obviously, I've read a lot of good books, and I've read some not so great books, but this is one I'm really excited to deep dive into with you guys. So I want to say for the month of March, I was really trying hard to find new and diverse voices for Women's History Month especially. And I just found that ended up being much more of a feat than I thought it would have been, which is kind of unusual because I was really trying to step out of my box by reading like the same authors, the same kinds of books that I typically would. And to be honest, the new books that I read, I just wasn't drawn to them. So that's part of the reason why it's been taking me so long to release book reviews for the month of March. But I do apologize, and I am happy to say that I have found some really engaging books, and I'm excited, like definitely a little late, but I'm really excited to share them with you all nonetheless. There's just been a lot going on, so I do appreciate y'all's patience, and thanks for sticking around because I'm really excited to talk to y'all about these books. And, you know, I don't do this for any money. I do this because I love reading. I love to encourage people to read, and yeah, it's just really fun. It's just for me to yap. So I hope that y'all enjoy them. And yeah, I'm really excited to talk to you about this book. So the book that we're reading today is, drumroll please, When Women Were Dragons by Kelly Barnhill. Yes. And honestly, let's get into the cover. The cover is so pretty. See a little dragon eye there. I'm obsessed. I love the color green. It's not my favorite color, but it is a top 3 color for me. If I'm being honest, it's the color of my room. And so, yeah, I love green. And then it has like this purple, which everybody knows. Well, I don't know if everybody knows, but purple has like meanings of like royalty and just, I don't know, just beauty and just like, yeah, royalty. And I really like that. So I just thought that was really cool. Also, there's like a little crescent moon. So yeah, I really liked the book cover and it made me more excited about the book. And yeah, it's giving. So I'm really excited to talk to y'all about it. So let me paint the scene for you. Imagine you have the choice, the option, the freedom to just get up and fly when you're feeling a little frustrated, a little irritated, or you're just over it. That's pretty much what happens in this book. That's a cool little ability, if I'm not mistaken, okay? Yes, I think so. So essentially, this is kind of a feminine rage kind of book. And, you know, I don't personally identify as a feminist because historically, the whole feminism act wasn't essentially here to help people who looked like me and many others. So I think I would say I probably more identify as a womanist. Not that that matters at this moment, I'm just saying. But I do think that in this book particularly, it was just different and points were made. And so I like this book. So again, I have a lot to tell y'all about. And again, we are in for a deep dive and analysis. So buckle up. Put your glasses on. Actually, don't know where my glasses are. But if I had them, I would put them on right here, or a monocle. Monocles are pretty cool. I would put one on, some kind of glass device over my face, and we would get started. But alas, let's get started anyway. I guess you could say that this book does have some trigger warnings, if you could even call it that. But yeah, there's a lot of death by dragon, as you can imagine, and sexism. But what else is new? Anyway, let's put on our dragon wings and dive in. The book starts off with an alternate version of mid-century America with a huge life-altering event called the Mass Dragoning of 1955. More than 250,000 women all over the nation left behind their husbands, their families, their jobs, their roles in society, and just turn into dragons. It just sounds so funny to say that, because could you imagine, like, you're just chilling one day and then, goddamn mama is a dragon spitting fire at people. Like, that's terrifying. It appeared as if this phenomenon was really random, but the situation ended up being met with a lot of fear and confusion for a lot of people. And that soon turned into suppression, which means that basically the US government didn't know what to do about these dragon-ass women, that they were just like, you know what? Let's not talk about it. Let's just push this in the deep crevices of our united mind and just forget about it. Let's just forget about it. Who knows about these women? These women never existed. Forget about it. It's very American, actually, to rewrite history and push it away. Okay, it's very American. It's very on brand. So anyway, this story is told from the perspective of Alex Green, a young girl whose life changed since the mass dragoning. As you can imagine, if that many women changed into dragons in society, it changed a lot of people's lives, obviously. Anyway, it basically kind of follows her life after the mass dragoning. And the mass dragoning of 1955 definitely changed her life when her favorite aunt Marla turned to a dragon. And in turn, she turned to a dragon and left her young daughter Beatrice behind. Alex's mother, who is already a super repressed woman, steps up and takes in Beatrice, but not before pretty much altering their life stories. Basically, she was like, look, I don't know who Marla is. Beatrice is my daughter. Therefore, she is your sister. And that's the story we're sticking to. You got it? And Alex was like, okay. Because again, at this point, she's like 7 or 8. Something like that. She's very young. So this is a lot for anyone to take on, but especially a young girl in the 1950s. And I'm going to keep reiterating that this is the 1950s, okay? Obviously, this is not a real story. Is it another ploy from the government hidden from us? Who the hell knows? I'm going to ask my grandma. As time goes on, Alex tries to navigate life with her forged secrets and takes notice that many other women are suppressing their emotions. They're not talking about the dragonings, and they adhere to really super strict societal expectations. While she goes on about her day-to-day with this changing society, more questions come to her, but one that always remains at the front of her mind. Why do some women dragon and why don't others? You see, Alex is what I would like to say is asking the right questions. As Alex gets older, she becomes increasingly more aware of the injustices towards women. Limited opportunities, forced silence, and an expectation to conform to what society thinks of women. While it's clear that Alex is extremely smart and excels academically, there are many obstacles that prevent her from fully pursuing her dreams. She also takes notice that her cousin/sister, Beatrice, displays some unusual kind of personality traits. She's extremely strong-willed, intelligent, and has an affinity for dragons, which is, by the way, pretty much a forbidden word for anyone, but especially in her household. Her mom forbids it. No one can say it. It's a big deal. As Beatrice grows, it becomes apparent to Alex that Beatrice might just transform and leave her behind. Throughout her journey, Alex is guided by a librarian who encourages her to continue her education and also pursue the truth and helps her to make sense of the world. And this is why we love the library, everybody. The libraries are full of librarians who are here to help us guide us through the world in a plethora of things, from dragons to job security. Utilize your libraries and utilize them librarians. They are really just little saints in bookshops, in free bookshops, essentially. I've personally never met a nasty or useless, unhelpful, unkind librarian. Some of them might be a little not as friendly as others, but they're always here to help you to utilize the library in its full capacity. And that includes seeking the truth. So, a little plug for the libraries because they need the help. They need our support, okay? And I feel like I'm going to stop it there because otherwise I would give you some really big spoiler alerts as to, what causes the dragonings and how the government is managing that. So we will stop right here. But I will say that there are a ton of themes in this book, but one that was the most prevalent to me was definitely feminine rage, okay? There's feminine rage and power, rebellion, historical erasure, and coming of age and identity. So obviously there's a lot to talk about with this book, so let's just get into the tea. I do not drink tea like that. I don't know why I did that. I want to say first that this book was incredibly interesting and thought-provoking, and for that, I loved it. There were so many questions that I had throughout this book, and usually I can say that most stories will leave me with like, so what happened after that? I feel like this book really did a great job of answering all my questions, and so for that, we're already up to a good, great, fabulous start, okay? Also, boom, the pacing. Right out the gate, it starts with a letter from this lady. She's like, my mama was a hater. Y'all set me up to get married to this abusive man. I'm finna be a dragon. F y'all. And honestly, that's a great way to get my attention, okay? So the other books that I was reading this month, they weren't giving that. It was giving very long, very silly, not making sense logically or story-wise. But this, shout out to Kelly, because I was engaged immediately. At least by page 5, I know I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like this book, which is a really good sign for me especially. So shout out to you, girl. Let me just say this. I never in my life have ever desired to be a dragon. Honestly, I'm actually quite surprised by how interested and engaged I am with all these like mystical beings as of lately. Like I would say the last 5-6 years, I've been kind of into dragon stuff, which I never really would have thought of because that just never really was like my thing. It was like my mom's kind of stuff. Like she likes like dragons and vampires, and I was just like, I don't really get it. But I'm really into it now. So again, I would never in my life have ever wanted to be a dragon until I read this book, okay? I've never wanted to be more of a dragon than after I read this book. This book made me think about what I would do as a dragon and what more importantly, what kind of badass dragon would I look like, okay? So I'm envisioning, paint this picture, y'all. I'm envisioning a blue, purple, mixed hue kind of dragon with like a little bit of green, you know what I'm saying? And I got the locks. So I want my spikes. Honestly, it's giving pipe cleaner curl spikes. I want my spikes to kind of have like a curl, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm like a deep purple blue, kind of like very darker than like a siren, not like a mermaid, like a beautiful siren, not like a scary siren, like a beautiful siren. Because I want to say mermaid, but mermaid's like too girl. I want it to be girly, but I want it to be like sultry, you know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I'm thinking like, what kind of dragon would I be? Because in this book, the dragons are doing everything. They're living in the jungle. They're living in space. Hello. They're living in the ocean. Hello. They're living everywhere, and I'm living for it, okay? So, yeah, I would be like some purple blue dragon with like a little bit like a green sheen, and when I flap my wings, yeah, can you imagine? When I flap my wings, it's like little stardust. Ooh, bitch, like little stardust floating around? Come on. You see the vision. If you don't have the vision. But I see it and I have the vision. And I would be outstanding. And then because I'm obsessed with the ocean, I would obviously mostly live in the ocean. But because I am nosy and curious, I would also go up and shoot up into the sky, into space. Launch me up that motherfucker. I want to know what's going on out there. Okay? And then also, I would like to talk to the aliens because we need help down here. But that's, I really want to hang out with them first. You don't want to just go up to people and be like, just using them. Hey, can y'all help us out? No, we want to hang out, be cool. And if they're not cool on me, I'm a dragon. I'm going to light their ass up. But I'm not going to come up there hostile. So yeah, I'm going to be like a really cute, ethereal, space sea dragon. And honestly, when I'm on Earth, not only will the stardust come down, maybe like a little mist. Although that kind of can come up as like sweaty. So maybe like glitter. Maybe like glitter, but like biodegradable glitter. Because, we care about the oceans. Yes. Yes. And I'm protecting the animals. Okay. I'm protecting the animals. I'm helping women cross the street. If people want to like pick on people, it's always men with women, to be real with you. So if like women want to just get to their destination without being harassed, I'm like an island dragon. Oh, an island dragon, bitch, that'd be cool too. Actually, I'm going to say ocean dragon, but an island dragon is kind of like my thing. Yeah, she's large and scary, but the waist is snatched. The curl spikes are there. She's beauty. She's grace. She's floating into space. Ooh! I like a rhyme. So, yeah, that would be me as a dragon. I love it. And even before I even got into this like elaborate dragon design and what I'd look like and who she'd be, I obviously thought about who I would burn the hell up. And to be real with you, I got a good list of 10 people. And they're all rich white men, like extremely rich. And this is not just like out of like on some hateful stuff. This is just like for the good of the world. We're helping stop climate change. We're helping stop over dictatorships and among other things. We're helping everything. We're caring about the environment. So yeah, like that's who I would burn the hell up. And I know I'm not the only dragon who will burn their ass up too. So I'm just saying, it's actually crazy that none of the dragons really lit their ass up in the book. Honestly, that was a little disappointing if I'm being honest. Like they really should have been burning up. I said I wasn't going to give one spoiler alert, but I am going to give like a teeny spoiler alert. It's like a little teeny spoiler alert. It's not like it's like a spoiler alert. So in the book, Alice's mother dies. Yes. Super sad. But this is another episode of the trifling shit that men do and why it should be burnt the hell up. I'm just kidding. Kind of. Anyway, yeah. So her mama dies. Literally a month later, her father kicks Alex and her sister / cousin Beatrice out into their own little shitty dumpy apartment because he moves in his pregnant secretary and then be like, yeah, I gotta move you out because I have a family now. So, I'm going to put you on this apartment. Y'all going to figure it out. I'll pay your way until you graduate high school. After that, you go find a husband, get married. You're out of my hands. Good riddance. Which is a trifling shit. Like, you are just trifling as And I don't know why she didn't drag in that moment because I would have burnt him the hell up because y'all. And if I was Alex's mama, I would have came back and haunted your ass. I would have haunted him and his new wife. Trifling as hell. Just like one thing men will do is have the audacity. And so, yeah, that's what this book really gave me perspective on. Just like the things that men get away with or can do because essentially their size and their weight, they just really just throw their weight around. From the beginning of time, women have generally been smaller, weaker, overpowered by men, whether that be, physically, politically, emotionally, just all kind of crazy brute behavior, and women just had to sit there and take it. Not no more. If all of us dragging the fuck up, who is gonna belittle us now? And who gonna get the hell burnt up? Okay, who gonna get burnt the hell up? Something to think about. All right. But before I get into that, because that's a much longer conversation, but I want to say that there was just a lot of shade in this book, and I lived for it. Okay, so Alex went to a school. Again, she's in the middle of Wisconsin. She's going to a Catholic school. She's going to school with real nuns. Okay, rulers on the hand nuts. okay? And the principal is a pastor who's like a quack. He's like the worst. Big hater energy, okay? A big hater, hates smart women, hates women that talk, just wants them to be docile little nuns. So I want to say that the nuns in the story were really just like background, but they're like high key important to the story, but they're very much background characters, okay? So basically throughout this book, Alex's mom is a hater. She's a hater to her sister, Marla, before she dragons. She's a hater to Alex because Alex likes to ask questions. Alex is smart. Her mom is also smart. She just downplays it because in the 50s, you're supposed to just get married and just listen to your husband, which is crazy. Like I was saying, Alex's mom was basically a hater most of her life. But at one point, she was finally advocating for her because she recognized that, Alex is doing really well in school, but she needs more stimulation. She needs more work. She needs harder, challenging work. So she wanted her to have harder classes so that she can, really expand that big brain of hers. And so the nun was like, I know you can come up in here. That's not what she said. But the nun did say this, and I quote, so how useful has your mathematics degree been to you as a housewife? She ate her up. I ain't gonna lie. She was wrong for that, but she did eat her up because you talking about Alex being awesome. Again, this is the 50s, so they're not really like advocating for women to go be smarter and pursue higher education. They want you to be a secretary and get married to a man, and that's that. That was a thing in the 50s. But she really ate her up with it. She's like, oh, okay, you talking about her being smart. Okay, but what you doing with your smarts? Oh, yeah, that's what I thought. Nothing. So she ate her up, and I was like, damn, that was mean, but so again, I have said that this book is set in the 50s a bajillion times. And it was because it's super important to really think about that. So it's 2025. This book was in 1955. Obviously, it's a fake book. It's fiction. But a lot of these are like based on actual historical facts. Like women weren't encouraged to get their degrees. They were told to get a secretarial degree and just be fine being a secretary. No shade to secretaries, okay? Because they're very important too, but like they didn't want them to excel in mathematics, science, arts for real. I say that to say that this book made me really appreciative of like all the rights that we have. And I feel like me included, that we don't always appreciate how far we have come in such a short amount of time, okay? Like, I really want to say it was like the 80s for real when women could actually get bank accounts and have their own money without their husband. And that was not that long ago. That was 40 years ago, sometime in the 80s. Because before you had to get it with your husband or you had to sneak around and do it. And you had to really not to sneak around. If you sneak around, because obviously it's an institution, your banking institution, you have to do it with a man that you trust. So that also was like very scandalous. Like there's so many things that we have come ahead of as a woman, but especially for me as a woman of color, so many things have happened. And it's also insane because a lot of those things are kind of things are being reversed. Roe v. Wade, just to put one out there. Like, it's really crazy because people have really put their bodies, their bones, their blood, their souls, their energy, their weary bodies on the line to get to where we're going, and look at how it's turning out right now. I don't say this as like a doom thing. It's one as a way to say I'm really grateful for the many women, especially women of color, and men who have helped, because we have to work together to be free fully. Everybody has to work together to be free. And I am really grateful for all the strides that women have made. And it's not just in America. There's parts of like the Middle East where some women are just able to drive. You know what I mean? Like, we take these things for granted, and I think this book just had me, and I was reading this during Ramadan, so I was already feeling a lot more grateful anyway. So it just made me feel like there's a lot to be appreciative of, and I think that we take things for granted, and it's just good to just have this moment to just reflect, and wow, we've really come a long way. So I was really just grateful for the life that I live. We're in a best, it might not feel like it because we haven't lived everything, which is why it's another reason like we should really appreciate the older people in our lives, especially women, because they've gone through so much. So it's really beautiful and special and really a privilege that we get to experience this. Yeah, so I don't want to make it into like a whole thing, but I am really grateful. And that's what this book also really kind of drilled into me, like to be grateful for where we are and to not give up, so that to not only not give up, but not to lay down and just take it so that they can take it away from us again. So, fight the power. So I want to be honest and say that I read this book in public a lot. And it was a great conversation starter. Anytime a woman asked me about the book, they were really excited when I gave them like a brief synopsis. But for men, it was a highly different story. A lot of side eyeing and like, why would you want to just destroy stuff? Which, by the way, I never said I wanted to just destroy stuff. I might have mentioned who I wanted to burn up, but yeah, I never inherently was like, yeah, I want to like cause destruction and mayhem. Like, no, I just want to restore peace. But yeah, so, bear with me as I kind of come to a whole full circle because, I'm a talker, guys. But yeah, so bear with me. So I wrote this down from the book because the librarian was talking to Alex and really had a really thought-provoking statement and question for her. So she said, and I quote, "Anger is a funny thing, and it does funny things to us if we keep it inside. I encourage you to consider a question. Who benefits, my dear, when you force yourself to not feel angry?" And then she said, "Clearly not you." This is her after she was asking how she felt about her dad abandoning her, why her aunt left, and how she feels about the death of her mother. Like all these things, right? That was a word. And that was not just a word for women. That was a word for men, women, they, them, everybody in between. So I want to say that, I want to go back to what I said before, men kind of being destructive. And I don't say that all men are like that, but historically and currently, men have been that way. They've raped, they've pillaged, they've conquered all across the globe, okay? Warriors were initially men. Sailors, conquistadors, explorers, all these were men. I'm not here to blame men. I'm just saying that, look at America and look at other governments around the world. Men are at the head of the table. Okay? That's a problem. Okay? I won't even say that it's just like a problem. It is obviously a problem. But that's a common through line. Like, we can't deny that. I hate when people be like, well, it's not all men. Well, it's a lot of them. Let's just think about commonalities and patterns. People like to get into science. Let's talk about patterns, results that happen multiple times, current trends. It's right there. It's telling you, it's in your face. Don't be selective about it. Like, that's what it is, okay? Okay, now hold that because I'm going to make another little pivot. So when I was reading this book, I was reading this and I was talking to this guy and he was like, oh, okay, well, make sure you don't want to be like a European kind of dragon, which I think was also like a double meaning because I was talking to a black man. But he had a point. He was saying like, European dragons are set to be like these really scary, ugly, destructive things. And he was like, you should aim to try to be more like a traditionally Asian, please, again, I'm not trying to be offensive, but a traditionally Asian dragon. From his perspective, I don't know a lot about Asian dragons, but he was saying, they're usually like taught to be like full of powerful, but like full of wisdom and peace and harmony. And I think about Mulan. Again, I'm not trying to be offensive. These are just the things that I'm thinking. I'm just using my context clues. Mulan, what's his name? Mushu? Damn, Eddie Murphy's dragon. I don't know. But also, shout out to Eddie Murphy because he's played a lot of great characters. But yeah, his dragon is like supposed to be all powerful and help her for the wisdom and guidance for the ancestors. That's beautiful. That's cool. Wonderful. Okay. But I think there's something to be said about being scary, strong, and being able to throw your weight around. Okay. Men have done it since the beginning of time. Like, hear me out. I think that women should absolutely get angry. And I think that when enough of us are fed up and on the right side with each other, because that's another thing I did enjoy about this book. There was a lot of female women camaraderie. I hate saying female, but women camaraderie. There's just something to be said when women are working together instead of, like, again, another societal thing from a patriarchy to setting women up to combat and fight against each other and, you know, have these internal, no, when women work together, it is like a beautiful garden being tended to and just so many blossoms and blooms and good feelings. And, you know, and I'm not saying that men don't belong in that. I'm just saying that it's always better for women to work together. If women were all angry together, we could really move some shit. Let's just talk about the book specifically, right? So all these women that turn into dragons, they were using their big, scary bodies and size. Their fire-breathing ability didn't kill one politician, 1 billion, trillion, gazillionaire. Didn't do any of that. Instead, they hung out in the oceans, stopping fishermen from overfishing and helping raise up the whale population and animal population, coral. They were helping the animals in the jungle. They were helping migrants to get the supplies they need. They were helping women being able to walk down the street without people being, harassing her. Kids, they were doing good work, So I think there's something to be said about being scary, but in a positive way. I don't think that you have to just, because you are big and scary, don't mean you just gotta wreak havoc. I think you can be big and scary in a positive way that is beneficial to everyone. I don't know if you guys know this about me by this point, but I am a peace for all kind of person, okay? And I think that, I can see how dragons could be beneficial today. Mine could be a little more destructive. My ideas could be a little bit more destructive, but I do think in general, there's a lot of benefits to being big, scary, and powerful, okay? And I think that historically, again, men, especially with numbers, a bunch of men, there's a meme, and I'm going to find it. I think I have it, but it's a meme. And it's it's not funny. It's funny because a lot of women go through this. And I don't think men go through this at all. I will say that, but let's just say it's the roles reversed. So it's a meme, and it's that SpongeBob people about to, I'm finna head out, that meme. That is a shared experience for a lot of women. But I don't know if men are going to run if there's a group of women just at the end of an alley. I don't know. Maybe they will. I don't know. So, yeah, I'm just saying, men are scary and they use that scare tactic to be menacing, threatening in a not so great way. Whereas in this book specifically, the women who were dragoned, or the women who dragon and turn into these big, scary beasts were dragons of quality, helpfulness, grace, compassion, and community. It was just beautiful. And that was a long roundabout, but you see how all these things kind of connect. There's something to be said about when women just get in touch with their rage and things can get done. But let's not light everything on fire. I'm just saying things can get done. Woo! So that was a long one. And I hope that everything made sense. I tried to connect it as best as I could. This was a really long recording. So all in all, that was a really good book. I really enjoyed it. I really hope that you guys read it because I really want to talk more about it. I try not to give out too much of what actually happened and the actual cause of the dragonings and things like that. I try my best, but I really want to have engaging conversations about these because I think that there's something to be said about it. I really do. I think that there's a lot to talk about, and I want to talk about it with you. Yeah, so I will say I didn't really love the ending, but it wasn't bad. It was like bittersweet. But yeah, this book was great, and I'm just gonna give it what it deserves, a 5 out of 5 golden bookmark. So yeah, this is my first book by Kelly Barnhill. I'm probably gonna check out some more of her books, but yeah, shout out to her. I was so happy, like she really carried me throughout this Women's History Month. So I'm really grateful for that. And that wraps up another episode of the Cozy Little Book Club. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you've read the book, please be sure to leave a little stack of book emoji and let me know what you thought about the book. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you rah like a dungeon dragon? What are your thoughts? And be sure to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so that you know each week when I drop a new book review. I hope you have a lovely day. And remember, when you open a book, you open your mind. Until next time, peace.